Welcome in, guys, into my Chicago Bears 2025 season recap. Now, you look at the Bears football the last couple of years, it has been kind of a running meme, where the Bears, you, they, you know, they're just, they have been for decades, have been a laughing stock. But you look at really 2025, coming after that 2024 season where midway through 2024, the Bears fired a head coach. That was the first time that the Bears fired a head coach midway through a season in 2024. 2025, they had to really see what they got and see what they had in a Caleb Williams. Because in his rookie year, it didn't help that he had Matt Eberflus as his head coach, and then you had Shane Waldron, the Wizard Waldron, being the offensive coordinator. So ultimately, they needed a fresh start in Chicago. And Ryan Poles actually did something good. He actually did a good hire here by hiring former offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, who again worked with Jared Goff for a couple of years in Detroit. Again, this was a huge addition, and ultimately they needed a lot of additions, especially weapon. They needed to build around Caleb Williams. You've seen it this season with Drake May. If you build around a young quarterback, you're going in the Super Bowl. You're going to be in the Super Bowl in like 2 days, or a day or two. It just shows how if you build around a young quarterback and you actually maneuver the draft and the free agency, you actually have yourself a chance of winning championship football instead of playing Bears football. So anyway, Ben Johnson comes in as a head coach. The additions that they bring in during the off season, you got Durham Smith. He was a tight end from Miami. He only had to give him a year deal. Defensive tackle, which is uh, Grady Jarrett. You again went for focusing on a couple of starters on the offensive line, which was needed to be addressed. Drew Dolman came in for the Falcons. Then you went back in to get some more defense reinforcements, and then you got Devin Duvernay from Jacksonville, Nick McLeod from the 49ers, Sean Wade, cornerback, Miles Miles Boykins at wide receiver from Seattle, and then you get yourself a backup quarterback as well, which is not bad. And then obviously you traded away a couple of picks for like 20 for a 6th round pick in last year's draft, and then a 4th round pick in 2026 for Joey Faru, who was at the Chiefs as a guard, and then Jonah Jackson, who was with us at Atlanta a couple of years ago from the Rams. And then the draft. The draft approach was, again, I like the draft approach. You know, Luther Burden the third coming in from Missouri, coming in the 2nd round, was a huge steal. Colson Loveland coming in at tight end. Again, you're beefing up those weapons because, let's be honest, Cole Kmet and DJ Moore are just not suitable for this Ben Johnson system. So again, that's what I like, that you got Colson Loveland and Luther Burden. Then you traded away a pick to the Bills. Ozzy Trapolo at offensive tackle. Shamar Stewart, defensive tackle. You trade away a couple of more picks. Ruben Hapolo II from Maryland, linebacker. And Luke Newman. You got Kyle Monongai, though. I think that was a great steal. You got him late in the 7th round. And I was talking yesterday in my Packers recap. You can get some good steals in the 7th round. Like, you look at Cal Mononga, he was a 7th round pick from Rutgers, and it was a good addition for this team. And you look at really cap space. They got about they're not over the salary cap, so they got a bit of money to spend in this off season. Schedule wise, though, when you opened up the first game of the season, you lose on prime time on Sunday again. You lost on prime time against the Vikings at home. And again, that's down to defense. Again, their offense wasn't too bad. I know Caleb Williams didn't have the best of seasons this season, but the defense really let the Bears down this year. That was one of the biggest things that Ryan Poles got that completely wrong. Hiring Danny Sam was a disaster. And I'm going to get to the defense in a minute, but You know, you're losing to the Vikings in the division game 27-24, and then you're losing to the Lions 52-21. You're giving away 52 points to a Lions team that wasn't that good in 2025. Then you go into the Cowboys and you get a good wins against the Cowboys and the Raiders. You come off the bye week and get a great win against the Commanders and the Saints, and then you go to Baltimore and lose. You give up 30 points to the Baltimore, who were really bad this year. You beat the Bengals, but you left it late, 47-42 in week 9, and weeks 10, 11, and 12. You beat Giants, the Vikings on the road. You beat the Steelers at home. You beat the Eagles, which again I thought week 13 was fantastic when you went to the Eagles, when you went on the road to the Eagles. It's always been a tough place to go if you're a Bears, especially the Bears haven't won there since 2011. But again, they got a good road win there, 24-15. That was the Black Friday edition on week 13, and then you go later on in the season where they lost to the Packers, who were again 28-21. The Packers got their revenge, and then beating the skid marks. You beat the Packers in overtime though at Soldier Field to get yourself a playoff place and knock the Packers out of contention. Then you lose to the 49ers in the last game of the season. But points against, they were 23rd out of 32. They had 23rd best defense in the league. Again, you need to, if you're looking at this off season, if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm looking for a new defensive coordinator. I don't think you're going to hire one now because, I don't know, you may still hire a defensive coordinator, I don't know, but Dennis Allen, again, you're not going to win a championship with Dennis Allen being your defensive coordinator. He's just like Matt Nagy. Points against, though, you had the ninth best offense in the league, and you're hoping that maybe in Ben Johnson's second year, you're hoping you can get at least into the top 10, well, not top 10, top 5 of the best offenses in the league. But ninth in the league is best because, again, if you know Bears football, it's been free with the ball, especially with the coordinators they've had, like the fucking Wizard Waldron and Gutless Jesse and all those other guys. Having them being in the top 10 for in offense, again, it's not too bad, but again, you want to be up there in the top 5 for best offense, and at least get your defense to be like a top 10 defense as well. Caleb Williams, he had his moments, but in the season he had 3,942 passing yards, the most ever by a Bears player. Draft over for this year. They did. After that, the Bears beat the Packers as well in the playoffs, but that's in 2010. And then they got to the divisional round against the Rams. They had a home game in Chicago, and then ultimately it was an overtime win for the Rams, and they just couldn't get the job done. And you're looking at this Bears team, and it kind of reminds me of the Lions from 2024, where you've had a golden opportunity to potentially get to a Super Bowl, because the Chiefs are not in the Super Bowl, the Bills are out of the Super Bowl, the Ravens are not there this year, the Eagles are out of the Super Bowl. You had that great window that the Lions had last year, and you didn't capitalize on it like the Lions didn't do last year. And you don't know how many times you're going to get these moments, especially when you're looking at the Bills. They're going to be up there again. The Rams are going to be up there again. The Chiefs are definitely going to be a rebuild, but they're definitely going to be up there as playoff contenders. The Ravens may be up there with what's going on there, but there was a golden opportunity, I think, for the Bears that they could have actually got to Super Bowl this year. And if the defense was better and it was better coached, the defense, and Caleb Williams wasn't looking like a deer in headlights, it would have been a really good season for the Bears. It was kind of one of those seasons where the Bears, much as again it was good this season, they was up 11-6, double-digit winning team, which they haven't done that since 2020. You're looking at this Bears team and thinking they had to outscore everybody else to get a win because their defense was so bad. If the defense was a lot better in the secondary, they wouldn't have to. Again, they're outscoring the Bengals 47-42 again, both bad defenses. But if it was a lot better, they wouldn't be in that position. So yeah, big thing is for this team next season, they have to heavily invest on the defensive side of the ball. Heavily invest on that side of the ball. Move on from DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, and really start committing at this defensive at the secondary, because this secondary is a dumpster fire. I know you invested a bit of money in this, but in this season, but it's not enough. But the Bears do have a first round pick, not first round pick, they have a first round pick, 25th overall, and then they traded away a couple of picks last off season. So again, um, uh, you may have to like maneuver yourself around the draft to get some things, and you can see what you can do in free agency. But the goal is, you know, the goal is for Ben Johnson is he's got to make sure that that defense is tight enough. He's got to make sure that the offense is make sure that Caleb Williams is firing, and he's not. Sometimes his downfield accuracy was a bit off as well last year, and that is something again that under Ben Johnson you're hoping that he can get that out of him, but he can coach it out of him. But yeah, that's my Bears review for 2025. What you guys thoughts in the comments?